Good morning. This is Holly with Holly's Joys, and I am going to read one of the chapters from the book that I'm writing, and it's called The Next 12 Steps. And this particular chapter is chapter 7, and it's called Triggers. If you have not seen the first 6 chapters and the introductory chapter, you might want to start at the beginning and just kind of watch them in order just to see how the concepts kind of build on themselves. But I have not completed this book, so this is just my way of kind of hearing it out loud and just kind of formalizing its layout. So here we go. Triggers or prompts. Today, I will be aware of these experiences, people, places, or words that prompt me to respond automatically in a way I do not want to. I need help to recognize and overcome my triggers. Chapter 7, Triggers. On the topic of thoughts and how they encourage feelings, this is exactly what can lead to feeling triggered. So let's explore triggers. We hear so much about triggers, I just want to define that word. It's helpful to know what we're thinking and talking about the same meaning when we're fleshing out a topic. So here goes nothing. Definition: an event, person, place, or object that when you are exposed to it causes an immediate and automatic, unwanted, disproportionate reaction internally or externally. So what happens when you're triggered? When triggered, your body jumps into survival mode, which includes fight, flee, fawn, freeze. And the response is not to the present circumstance, but to the association to a past traumatic event that is connected to the trigger. I think we can relate to this description from past experiences. Some common emotions experienced when triggered. This is not an exclusive list. So under the fight, we have angry, irritated, outraged, disgusted, or livid. Flee, confused, upset, mournful, ashamed, frustrated. Freeze, lost, depressed, dejected, heavy, or crushed. Fawn, submit, compliant, apologetic, avoiding, and denial. I know I have experienced most of these emotions and more. Sometimes it feels like they're happening at the same time. But using these concepts in the next 12 steps, I've made considerable positive progress, and I'm so grateful. Don't be hard on yourself if you've struggled around this topic. Life is that way. It ebbs and flows. Let's just work towards more flow. Take a moment to reflect on times you were feeling triggered. What was happening that caused this feeling? Can you identify an event, a person, a place, or an object that your triggered feeling is attached to? Recognize that you might be triggered. I know this sounds like it would be obvious, but from my own experience, that I can be fully triggered by someone and not have the awareness to realize that that's what's happening. I get caught in the emotional loop of it, and then I'm repeating all the things I've done before. Practice recognizing I am triggered has definitely helped me to shorten my being in this repetitive loop and to afford me an opportunity to do something different. So let's think about what I feel like when I find myself in this triggered space. Some common emotions when triggered. Number 1, feeling controlled. Being told what to do or feeling that you don't have a choice. Number 2, feeling taken advantage of, like being stolen from or lied to. 3, feeling unsafe, feeling threatened physically or even financially. 4, feeling boundary violations, disrespected or unseen, and so on. Begin to identify your triggers by looking at your own personal reactions. When are you feeling triggered? This is merely an area that needs addressed, not an indictment of any kind. Be gentle and patient with yourself around these sensitive areas. Awareness is an essential beginning, and itself is a victory. Once you know you are triggered and you have identified what you're feeling and why, then you can do something different than you have before. Let's look at some coping skills that have not been working. Commonly used ineffective coping skills: misdirected anger, lying or yelling, self-neglect, withdrawing, attempted control, compulsive behaviors, giving unsolicited advice, and the list goes on. Don't hurry through this process. Be kind and loving to yourself, and that makes it easier to notice things and begin a shift in hopeless thinking. I'm continuing to expand my confidence so I can really learn to help myself. Have you used any of these ineffective coping skills? If so, which ones? What was the outcome? Were you happy with the way you handled the situation? Below is a visual that shows my experience of moving from triggered to not being triggered. Just FYI, I'm not sure this process is ever fully finished, but I have made so much progress that I wanted to share it with you. Old triggers are all but gone, then lo and behold, a new trigger appears. But now I know what works for me and I can tackle it without too much disruption. So, moving from a triggered reaction to a triggered reaction using an ineffective coping skill, then to a triggered reaction to an effective coping skill, triggered a wanted response to not being triggered at all. Positive coping skills that I personally have found useful: mindfulness and meditation, support groups, set healthy boundaries, self-care, self-reflection, other positive skills. These skills build confidence and trust in yourself, your higher power, and others' ability to manage their own life. Anything that builds you up is a good coping skill to embrace and add to your list of do's. Month 7, triggers. Spend this month reflecting on what types or specific things that you feel triggered by. Once again, this is a chance for you to get to know yourself in a deeper way. This is truly a blessing from you to you. A disclaimer: I am not a medical nor a mental health professional. I am someone who has struggled with triggers in my life. What I have found while doing this is amazing and has benefited my life experience. I hope it helps you too. Week 1. Spend this first week identifying your feelings and really identifying those things that you would like to change in your emotions. Week 2. Use this week to determine different coping techniques that you think will be effective for you to employ. Week 3. This is the week to begin testing some of the coping skills you would like to try. Experiment with them and make changes as needed without criticism or judgment. And week 4, review. Being aware that people, places, and things throw you into an automatic response mode. Once aware, then work on coping skills that bring the response you desire from yourself. Be loving and patient to yourself. This is key. This leads us to consider how manipulation or gaslighting can affect you in finding joy, love, and peace. And that's our next topic. So look forward to chapter 8. Anyway, I appreciate y'all and I thank you for being here today. I want you to have an amazing day, and if you could, as a favor to me and as a service, hit the like button, leave a comment, follow, share, do all the things, push all the buttons, and know that you're thought about today and appreciated. And if you have triggers, never fear, there are options you can try. And go have an amazing day. Thanks. We'll see you next time.